So you need an online push. Gully TV Media, East Coast, West Coast, down south, uptown, downtown, Switzerland, the hottest in the business. Underground MCs. Need a push? Gully TV. Published authors. You need a push? Gully TV, your daily online source of hip-hop, sports, and fashion. The email is below. GullyTVBoss@gmail. Hit me up, I'll be there. Tuned in to me, you watching Gully TV. I have a very special guest. This interview is actually a long time coming. Maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting and interviewing the great Granddaddy IU from Long Island.
Yes, sir.
He spoke highly of a few artists that he had in his camp that he was expecting great things to come from. And I believe I had met you prior to that on social media somewhere, but he definitely mentioned you and had great expectations of you. So it's a pleasure to fulfill the prophecy on behalf of Granddaddy IU. Go ahead and introduce yourself to my listeners.
Right, man. I mean, first of all, I want to say long live Granddaddy IU. I go by the name of John Jigg, aka Teflon John, J.I. 2 G's, represent Strong Island, New York, ferocious MC, been putting this work in for over 10 years, grinding, putting that pain in on underground level, a little bit of mainstream here and there, but for the most part, underground level, boom bap,
Right.
Word.
The lineage that you come from hip-hop royalty out there in Long Island. Would you care to share with my listeners exactly who comes from Long Island on the hip-hop tip?
Man.
Got a bomb squad out there.
Yeah. Bomb squad, right? Right. So Rakim, EPMD, let's see, Rock Marciano, Keith Murray, De La Soul, Jungle Brothers, IU, Biz Marquee, man, there's Public Enemy, the list goes on and on and on, man. There's it's definitely big shoes to fill, because in that time when they had it, like they really had it, they had it. So it's like anybody that comes from where I come from, that's what they're expecting. They're expecting us to be trendsetters,
Is there any truth to Protege and Busta Rhymes, or leaders of the new school, having ties to Long Island?
Absolutely. So, from what I understand, Protege lived in Lakeview, which is like it's like right outside of Hempstead. Grew up there or whatever, and then I think he kind of just made a pilgrimage to Queensbridge, and they accepted him. But and then also who was the other person you named?
Leaders of the new school.
Oh, leaders of the new school. So the 3 members besides Busta Rhymes, they're straight Long Island. But I think yeah, right. I believe Busta Rhymes came there like high school or something like that. Or maybe 13, 14, something like that.
Right. I enjoyed kicking it with Granddaddy IU. That was one of my I was very, very excited to interview him. So I was a pup, man, when that banger came out, and I liked it to listen to him tell stories about the old hip hop shit. He used to be imitating Biz Markie voices. It used to crack me up.
Yeah.
But go ahead and share with my listeners how would you able to meet Granddaddy IU?
So the way it happened, I had gotten an interview on WUSB 90.1, Stony Brook University, which is like an underground college hip hop station on Long Island. My manager, not pictured, but Digital, he was actually the music director there. So he booked me for the interview. This is before he was my manager. He booked me for the interview, and he booked me on the same day as Granddaddy IU.
Okay.
So I go in there first. I go in there first, and I do my interview. And then, when I'm leaving, they playing my music. Granddaddy IU walks in. He's in the lobby waiting, and he hears my music. And he looks at me, and he's like, "Yo, that's you?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, shit's fire." He's like, "Yo, shit's fire, my nigga." He was like, yo, take my number, man. We're going to do something. And it was just as simple as that. And ever since then, he has done nothing. He did nothing but go out of his way to like help me. Any door he could open for me, any phone call he could make, any favor he could cash in. You know what I'm saying? He would do it. He would do it. He would do it for me. And at the time, I had just put out my first mixtape. I was working on my second one, Drugs 2. And for that project, he ended up producing 2 tracks on there. And then we also did a record called Long Island Fresh. And the bond was built from there. We just always stayed in touch. We would hang out. You know what I'm saying? He would come out. We would go. You know, we would go out sometimes. I was running a studio in Wine Dance at one time, me and Diabolic. And we were running a studio, and he would come to the studio sometimes just to hang out. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't always about music. It was just, we would just spend time together. You know what I'm saying? And he was somebody that I could call and like, if I wanted to get an honest opinion on a new record, or you know, just advice on something I should do or whatever or shouldn't do, he would be the one that would be like, yeah, because he's one thing about IU, he's always gonna give it to you straight raw. Like he's never one to bite his tongue at all. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's something I value. You know, as you become more popular, it's a lot of people around you that just tell you whatever, tell you what you want to hear. You know. But IU wasn't one of those people. You know, he would correct you, but he'd do it with love. You know what I'm saying?
Right. One of the things that stood out to me in your bio was you had a record that charted on the college top 10 charts. Explain to me exactly what that is at this point. It was a time in hip hop when college radio dominated hip hop.
Right.
You know, even when I went to Slippery Rock University. And I first got exposed to media and shit like that, fucking with some niggas who was communications majors. Like, come down to the studio, and I've been stuck in this shit ever since. But tell me, is college radio still a thing?
Absolutely. So shout out to Nasty Ness. Nasty Ness on the West Coast. He's actually Sir Mix-a-Lot's DJ.
Okay.
Well, you know, at that time, he actually runs pretty much runs the whole college radio thing and the charts and everything. So, yeah, we got connected with him again through my manager, and we put the record in, and it just started to grow. You know what I'm saying? We did a couple of those, like the DJ calls and stuff where they can, you know, come ask you questions and things like that. And before I knew it, and it was up there for a while too. Like most of the time the records will go and maybe a week or two, but this is like 5-6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? We hovering around 1 to 3, you know? Right. So, that was probably one of the best runs I had as far as, because it just opened up a lot of doors, because once college radio took it, then Sirius started putting me like daytime rotation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, then I started to be able to see like on media base and tracking, and I'm like, wow, this record is really doing things. And I started getting bookings for stuff that I wasn't getting before. I started getting calls for stuff I wasn't getting before.
To experience the reach.
Right. That's when I ended up when I did the Amway Center where the Magic play. You know what I'm saying? The Floyd Mayweather celebrity basketball game. Yeah.
That emanated
from that record,
college radio, huh?
Yeah, of college radio, and then like I said, Sirius on top of that, and then a couple of like real FM stations too picked me up, smaller markets though.
So the record that you're speaking of, was that your 2013 debut?
No, the record. So the name of the song is called Every Day, produced by Street Runner.
Okay.
So Street Runner, you know, Meek Mill, Fat Joe, Eminem, Lil Wayne, list goes on and on and on. I got a chance to work with him, you know what I'm saying? And we did this record, and it was like on some old school, like I brought him a sample and he did what he did, you know what I'm saying? And it worked, you know?
Okay. So how do they gauge the music in order to establish essentially a college billboard? How do they do that?
I would say I guess from what I understand, maybe like what people are maybe what people are listening to more, maybe what people are requesting more. I'm not sure exactly how that works. So I think what it is, it's a network of DJs. So the more DJs that pick up the record and playing it, they're keeping track of who's spinning what. So I really think it probably goes by spins. You know what I'm saying? Like if there's a network of 100 DJs, if 60 of them pick the record up and they playing it, you know, and then 30 only pick up this record, then I think that's probably how they're gauging it. You know.
Okay. How long did it take for you to start raising some eyebrows out there in Long Island? I see you got co-signs from 50 Cent, EPMD. That's very, very impressive. You met Eric?
Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
What's your relationship like with them guys?
Well, Parrish, man, he could call me for anything to this day because he did so much for me, you know, like, Sway in the Morning and, you know, he let, Hammerstein Ballroom, even out here in PA, what's the XL nightclub in Harrisburg, I believe. You know, taking me on the road with him and things like that. Eric, I mean, I've spoken to him a few times about working and it just really never happened. You know what I'm saying? But I remember maybe the second time I did SOBs, I'm performing, I'm going crazy. The whole crowd is going crazy. Eric comes, by the time I finish my set, Eric is at the edge of the stage and he's looking at me like, yo, we gonna work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it just never happened. I don't know about I don't know how well him and Parrish actually get along in real life.
To this day.
Right, to this day.
Right.
So I think maybe if I haven't worked with Eric, it might be because he's seen me with Parrish so much. And it's like kind of does, like they get, I mean, I give them credit because they're good enough to get together when it's time to get together, right? Like a few other groups I know too, right? But as far as like on the everyday and, you know, interacting with each other and moving in the same circles, I don't think that's reality. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's just me being in those rooms where some people ain't in. You know what I'm saying?
50 Cent is somebody that I greatly admire. I study 50 Cent. I pattern business practices, health and fitness practices, all off of information I extracted from reading 50 Cent's books and listening to his audiobook, Hustle Smarter, Not Harder. Yeah. How were you able to get a cosign from somebody of that magnitude?
So that was crazy. So shout out to Cannonville. He's a video director out of Jamaica, Queens. He did, if you watch a few of my early videos, he did like probably about 4 or 5 of them. He lives right in that neighborhood. Like I think like maybe 140th, right off of Guy Arbor. I come to his house to shoot a video for a song called Bill Cosby. He was like, yo, we just gonna go out to the Ave and we just gonna guerrilla shoot this. I go out to the Ave. I go out to the Ave. He got the, you know, he's shooting. He got the Bills beat playing. The Bills beat speaker playing. Beats Pill speaker playing. I'm sorry. And I'm out there doing my thing or whatever while I'm recording. But this is also not my hood. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to focus, but I'm also keeping my eyes on swivel because I'm out here. I got all red on. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what could happen? So I'm looking. Right. I'm looking and I see a black SUV, looked like it was bulletproof, all tinted out. It pulls up, slows down, and I see traffic kind of stopping, right? I see some big security niggas get out, right? This is all while I'm still trying to rap though. Yeah. But my peripheral, I'm like, okay, what's going on, right? All of a sudden, I see a big guy, but a smaller guy than the other guys get out. As it gets closer and closer and closer, I'm like, yo, this is fucking 50 Cent. And if you watch the video is called Bill Cosby, you can actually see my face, like, you know what I'm saying? He walks up, and I guess he rolled down the window and maybe he heard what I was doing or whatever. He jumped out and was like, yo. He's like, yo, let me get my cameo, son. Came up in the camera, put his arm around me. Like, yo, got in the camera and just and dashed just that quick. Like it happened that quick. Yeah. So yeah, and I can honestly say like that was one of those. There's been throughout my journey. There's been times when certain shit has happened, and I've been like, yo, I know I was born to do this shit. There's no way in hell I'm not born to do this shit. And that was one of those moments. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because that shit just doesn't happen to people. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up I just stayed down there for a while. in the neighborhood and just kind of feeling the people out. I was at the bodega and I was telling them, I was like, yo, 50 Cent just came through here before. They was like, yo, he be coming through here all the time. Just like on some pop-up shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was an incredible moment. Then we put the video out, and I definitely, like you asked me when did I start to raise some eyebrows. That was one of those moments. I would say even prior to that, when I put out my first mixtape, I ended up getting Long Island Music Awards, Best New Artist, and then mixtape of the year. You know what I'm saying? So that was like my probably the first time I was like, oh shit, like this shit really might work. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Just to give you some history, prior to that, I was in a group called the 495 Boys. Okay. And we was since teenagers. You know, we met in summer school, you know what I'm saying, in high school. And we had been running together that whole time. So probably for the first 10 years, we was doing that. And, you know, I come from a small town in Long Island, at the end of Long Island, called Riverhead. You know what I'm saying? It's not really well known. It's not a place that you go if you're not from there, you know? So, and we was hot, but we was just hot like locally. We had performed probably in every club in the area, any venue that you could name, we had done it, but it hadn't reached anywhere further than like Eastern Suffolk County, right. You know? And once I got to a certain point, like probably around the time my son was born, my oldest son, I was like, yo, if I'm gonna do this, it's gotta be a business. It's gotta be benefiting me in some way. I can't just be rapping just to be rapping. Like, I'm a grown man now, you know? Right. So, and that's when I started to like look at working on my own, because there was things that I wanted to do and things that I wanted to invest in, and maybe not everybody was always on the same page. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, so I started, you know, if you're going to do music in Long Island, you have to go to New York City. There's no way around it. You know what I'm saying? And when I just started doing more traveling and, you know, performing more in New York City, I was taking the Long Island Railroad to the subway, to the, you know, to wherever, you know what I mean? And just to do the hip hop, jumping in any cypher I could jump in, doing any show I could do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And grinding that way. So as I'm building a buzz on Long Island, I'm also building respect from the cats in New York City too. You know what I'm saying? To where, because Long Island always got a, you know, you from Long Island. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So I always had that. I was always trained that when you go there, you got to be even better than the best nigga. If I'm in Brooklyn, I got to be rap better than the best nigga in Brooklyn, just to get that respect, you know? Right. So that's, you know, that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I kind of never turned that off, you know?
You have to be inspired by places outside of New York City escalate to the forefront of hip hop. What I mean by that is upstate New York, right, Rochester,
Yonkers,
Buffalo, Yonkers,
yeah,
places like that. How has that affected your confidence seeing people from other places establish dominance amongst the 5 boroughs?
Yo, it's crazy. When Benny put out Burden of Proof, yeah, I DM'd him because I knew Benny before that. You know what I'm saying? And I inboxed him. I was like, I just want to let you know, bro. Like, this shit, and we like about the same age. Yeah. So I was like, yo, the shit that you're doing right now, it's like really, really, it's so inspiring. Like, you make it possible for niggas who older, who was really outside, you know what I'm saying, who was really, really out here putting in pain with this music, to like, it's never too late. You know what I'm saying? And he actually hit me back. That's probably the last time I talked to him. But he's like, yo, he actually hit me back and was like, yo, I appreciate you, my boy. He's like, yo, this shit. He was like, yo, this shit is moving so fast, and it's crazy. It's moving so fast right now. I can't even keep track of what's going on. Right. You know what I mean? Something to that effect. You know, and to see them do what they've done, and it actually makes me look at Long Island sometimes and be like, yo, what's wrong with y'all? Like, as far as like the fans and stuff, because there's no doubt in my mind that the people upstate New York in the beginning, they were some of the biggest supporters of these guys. You know what I'm saying? And Long Island, it just doesn't, I don't know, they just don't have that mentality. Long Island, I think upstate is a little bit better when it comes to like originality. not originality, but like not being followers. Like Long Island tends to follow what New York City is doing. Like whatever New York City is doing, Long Island will be like maybe 6 to 8 months behind. You know what I'm saying? And now it may be a little different because of the internet, but in my time coming up, so it was almost like you got to be on Hot 97 or Power 105 for Long Island to rock with you. You know what I mean? And it can't just be like some mix show shit. They got to actually turn on the radio and hear you every day while they driving to work or whatever they're doing. You know, or they got to see you with this one or see you with that one before they. Now that I've done some traveling and they see me touring overseas and doing all these different things, now some people in Long Island, you know what I'm saying? They tapping in and they like, okay, I see it. But my biggest markets have always been New York City and Boston and places like that, Philadelphia, even Los Angeles, Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Have always been that.
I noticed that you toured with Ras Kass and Tash. And this is my niggas, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Tash. I just talked to Tash a couple of days ago.
That's my guy.
What was it like moving around with MCs of that type of magnitude?
Well, both of them, Ras Kass and
Ras is a fair.
He's different. We got like 2 records together, and just the fact that I got a nod from him, like, okay, you know what I'm saying, was like, all right, you know, because I still remember Miami Life and all that, you know what I'm saying, and It's Over Nights and all that shit. So, and then look, the first time I met that, not the sidetrack, but the first time I met Ras Kass was in JFK in the International Terminal, right? Okay. I walk up on him and I tell him how much I love Miami Life at any price, keep my pockets right. So if that did, but what really fucked me up is when he told me that he did the beat too.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
I was like, yo, you made the beat too? Yeah. I'm thinking I never really looked at the producer credits for that record, so I didn't know, but I just assumed there was somebody else. But he actually put that record together. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, Jesus. And he told me that, I was like, wow. You know?
What were you said you was in the International Terminal. Where you was headed out to? I done been over there.
Yeah, we were going to the United Kingdom.
Okay, to the UK?
Yeah, we went to the UK. Yeah, we went to the UK. But I've been I've been everywhere, bro.
So when you start making those types of trips and shit, you go on above and beyond the rest of the guys that say they do this shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of niggas just Instagram rappers.
Yeah.
You know, they don't. When you get to punching that passport, that's a whole different level. What was it like going over there? What was your reception?
So, I mean, the first time was 2018.
Yeah.
We did Austria, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, the Netherlands, Holland, and Switzerland. And the first time this was, so 2017, I put out Twin Cannons with a producer by the name of K Slugger from Malmo, Sweden. He's done a lot of work with definitely done some stuff with Conway and West Side Gun and people like that. We put this album out, and it was like kind of like a slow burner, but it started to really it had staying power. It wasn't like one of these albums that come out and 3 weeks later people are on to something else. It worked. So I mean, over 6 months later, we ended up getting a vinyl deal from this company called Raptor Winkle, and then right after that, the calls started coming in. We started putting together. By the time I knew it, I had like 10 dates over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So it seems like once you break the ice over there, you kind of like in the loop. That's essentially what happened.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's what. Yeah, I mean, the pandemic happened too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't go back over there until 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say 2022, and then we've been doing the UK runs, and we'll probably be back over there like the first quarter next year or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you actually have vinyls out already?
Oh yeah. Maybe out of my 12 albums, maybe 5 or 6 of them available on vinyl.
Oh, you getting busy, man. I peeped that in your bio. You got 12 albums and 3 EPs and shit. Which one of those joints would you say is your Reasonable Doubt or your PILLMATIC?
Man, listen. This Jiggonometry, man, I put everything I had into this album right here. Released 2020. This album right here did a lot for me. I had built a brand. I had built a brand already I was doing. If you look at my catalog, I have a lot of projects where I work with one producer, and what we do is we don't just make an album. We create a vibe. So there's interludes, and it tells a story. It's almost like a movie. That's the way they play out. Right. So this was the first time in a while that I actually reached out to all different producers and put together a full length album. You know what I'm saying? And the way that it came out, the execution, and I mean, I sold like maybe 500 of these. You know what I'm saying? Hand to hand. You know what I'm saying? Which is, you know what I mean, which was good. I mean, without a distributor or anything like that. And then the streams, I mean, the album has like probably about 300,000-400,000 streams on Spotify. You know what I'm saying? So, and then Apple Music and all that stuff. So it did well. It has the Everyday record on it. You know what I'm saying? That took me a lot of different places. So this is definitely the most special. And I still, even to this day, you know, 4 years later, it's still streaming well. And you know what I'm saying? I can look at the numbers and be like, damn, like the music, this is what happens when you make music that has staying power, like real music, you know, and it's not just whatever's going on at the time, you know. I got to work with some incredible artists. Shout out to Gifted Gab. You know what I'm saying? She's super dope female MC from the West Coast, from Seattle. You know what I mean? Like I said, Street Runners on the project. I got, this right here is definitely the one. Shout out to my bro Bub Rock. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is definitely the one. But then Twin Cannons kind of broke. Twin Cannons with K Slugger kind of broke ice on a underground level.
Yeah. Okay. I never knew that Gifted Gab was a female. I've been hearing that name for some time.
Well, so Gift of Gab is from Jurassic 5. Rest in peace to him. He passed away. Okay. But she's Gifted Gab. Okay. So have you ever heard of the female duo Blimes and Gab?
No.
So they had a couple viral hits years ago or whatever. But she's a half of that duo. Yeah.
How did you find yourself in a fortunate position of performing at Floyd Mayweather celebrity basketball game?
Man.
Sound like a good look.
Yeah, shout out to Chris F. He with Full Focus. He was doing my marketing at the time and had a hand in on this event. You know what I'm saying? And was able to, you know, make some things happen, but he still had to make it make sense for them as far as like, so, you know, he had the door open to have the conversation, but they also had to approve who he was bringing to the table. You know what I'm saying? And they, you know what I mean? They definitely, shout out to popular DJ out there in Orlando, YNS too. You know what I'm saying? Definitely helped make that happen too. And you know what's crazy? You want to hear something crazy? The night after I did this, I had a great night. I performed, right? Then we went to Vito's Chop House in Orlando. Some of the best steak and lamb and all this stuff. I'm having a great night. Drinks. I stumble into my hotel room, right? I wake up in the morning. I go to have breakfast. I'm on the phone with my wife, and I look at my phone, and I see the notification that Kobe Bryant died. That very next morning.
Wow. Damn. I remember exactly.
Like, so I'm on a high. I'm way up here because I'm like, yo, I just did some. It was just like 5,000 people there. It wasn't, the stadium wasn't full, but it was like 5,000 in there. I did this. This is the biggest crowd I've ever done. I got love. I heard people going, oh, after I got done. So I'm on a high. I had a great night, you know. And then I wake up that morning and Kobe is gone. And it's not anything that anybody would expect. You know, a helicopter crash is like the last thing you think.
I know, right?
You know what I'm saying? It could be anything, you know, like it could have been anything but that, you know? So it was just, but you know, it was just a weird feeling, you know what I'm saying?
Tell me how you feel about, I had a conversation with Cormega recently, and we have intentions of crashing the VSPs. We're gonna starve them niggas.
This conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna stop giving them niggas fucking music, yo, because they're not doing right. They're not compensating. Nobody's getting rich from fucking Spotify and Apple Music and all of this shit. And you see in my office, we got all of these hard copy CDs and vinyls and shit like that. We trying to take it back and really change the infrastructure, so it's more so about these. How you feel about standing on this? You got 11 albums, 3 EPs, well, 12 albums.
12, yeah, because that doesn't have JJ's Revenge on it.
Okay. You got 12 joints, 3 EPs. How you feel about getting rich off that body of work, man? Because it ain't gonna happen through these fucking streaming sites.
Absolutely. Yo, listen. So I'm having this conversation with my manager all the time, and even like my circle, my immediate circle. So my last 2 albums, like JJ's Revenge, just got on streaming platforms maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I was against it. I was gonna actually ride this whole album out on Bandcamp and even, you know what I'm saying? Because the last time I did it, when I put out, early this year, I put out an EP called Soul. When I put that EP out, I made more money in the first week than I had seen, than any check I had gotten from Next Records or any of these other distributors I work with for years. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, what am I doing here? You know what I'm saying? Why give them, like, I agree. The thing about it is, when it comes to booking shows and things like that, you have to have some type of data to back up why. I mean, you're gonna have promoters that are aware of you because they heard of you or whatever, but they also want to know how you're doing in their city. You know what I'm saying? So they can at least have some type of, they can feel better about booking you and making sure that you're gonna fill seats. You know what I'm saying? So that's where all of that stuff comes into play, where all of the streaming and all of that stuff comes into play. Like, I just did my first show in Chicago back in August. The first thing he asked me, how many listeners do you have in Chicago? You understand what I'm saying?
I'm glad you pointed that out.
So that's
one of the pros.
That's one of the pros of having streaming, because if you have Spotify for artists, you can see everything on the back end, and you can actually look and see people's ages, the city that they're listening to, everything, analytics, everything. So and when you're trying to book a tour, you have to have something to be able to show them, to say, look, I'm trying to do this show in San Diego or whatever. You know, I got 200 people that listening to me daily there. I think if we book a show, it should work. We should be able to get at least 50 to 80 people in the building, you know?
Great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
So, I mean, unless you have another way to track all of this stuff, that's their way of being able to gauge it, you know? And that's going to be the way that they trust to be able to gauge it, you know? So that's my only thing. But see, I'm a hustler. Like, however I gotta make money, I'm gonna make. So if I can't, I haven't been counting on streaming money this whole time. It's been shows, it's been verses, it's been features, it's been vinyls, it's been, you know, if I'm on the road in the UK, I can get $50 for a piece of vinyl, $40 for a piece of vinyl. If I do 5 of those in a night, that's a good night. You know what I'm saying? You know, and then I got paid for the show too. You know, like, so that's something I learned very early. I also ran with Diabolic for a long time, and you know, his fan base is a little different. It's like the white boy hip hop shit, right? So I remember we did this show. They had this venue on Long Island called Revolution Music Hall, right? This is like I want to say maybe 300 person venue, something like that. And he put me on the show. He didn't pay me for the show, but I had a merch table. I made $500 off of merch that night because the white boys was walking up and buying shit. So, and this is early 2016. So something clicked in my head, like, okay, so so it doesn't even matter. Let's just get on the road, because
they got this table.
Yeah. And look, now funny thing, right? So we did Toronto a couple years ago with Illogy, Rusty Jukes, Royal Flush, right? The 3 of them. So those are all, and these are all my brothers. These are all, I seen that interview too. These are all people that I rock with, people I got records with, all of that, right? One thing that we noticed, right? Illu was posted up with the merch table. That nigga did not move. not move away from that merch table that whole night while we did that show. And my manager pointed out, he's like, "You see that shit?" He's like, "This nigga is on his grind. Like that's what you gotta do." You know what I'm saying? He used to manage Illa too.
I love his website. I told him, I said, "Man, I love your website, man."
Yeah, yeah.
His garbage, his jazz, his music, everything. He just put out a dope ass record. I just interviewed him. I can't remember the record. It's dope as fuck. And I told him, I said, I like how you going about getting the record off, man. Because he's one of the unique diamonds in hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When I first, of course, I was exposed to him by Mobb Deep and all that shit back in the day. But when he sent me his bio, it was in there that he had did some work with Sean Price. And I told him, I said, I didn't want to just flat out say this to you, but you remind me of that nigga. Man.
Yeah. That's why they click.
Yeah.
That's why they click.
Yeah.
That's why they click. Rest in peace to Sean Price.
I got my own .com, so I got my own situation, my own merch and shit popping, man. And I tell people that we all need to take it back to that, man.
No.
And put these people in a situation where they're going to have to compromise with us. They're going to have to restructure this shit. If y'all want to deal with us on these DSPs,
right,
we're going to have to renegotiate these contracts.
And shout out to Rock Marciano too, because I watched him do something. When he put out Rosebud's Revenge, like 2018. Yeah. I remember the first month it wasn't on streaming sites, and he only had it on rockmarcy.com. Yeah. And I remember he put up a post and he was like, "Yo," when I did when I put out my last album, we had like 3 million streams, and the check was sneaker money. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And then he was saying like then they put out when they put out Rosebud's Revenge, he's like, I think he said he sold like 3,000 copies, 3,000 copies of it at like $40 a piece. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just simple math. So my thing is, like I said, I hustle. So like, if I even like, especially like, because I built this brand of working with producers and kind of leveling them up, you know what I'm saying? At the same time, I had producers reach out to me that want to work, and I'm on some. I got to get paid up front to do it because I know the streaming. It's not going to be, you know what I'm saying. So for me to put my time into this, me to sit down and work and then after I do this with you, niggas are gonna hit you. Monkey see, monkey do. Niggas is gonna hit you up and want to work with you, and they probably gonna pay you for beats. You know what I'm saying? So and this formula has worked. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of I might get killed online. A lot of producers, they get upset about that shit. They don't feel like they should have to pay artists. They feel like we should only be paying them. Right. You know what I'm saying? But the way I look at it, if I understand that I need production, but I got in-house producers if I need production. You understand what I'm saying? Right. If nobody knows who you are, you could be dope as hell. You could be. There's a nigga right now that's better than Michael Jordan. That's better than everybody, but he just never. So it doesn't matter, right? You could be dope as hell if nobody knows who you are, but people know. But people are gonna tap into this project because they know who John Jigg is, right? And then, and it's an investment for you because once we do this, the project is gonna be celebrated. I'm gonna be on these platforms. I'm gonna be promoting you. You know what I'm saying? Once that happens, you know what I'm saying? Your shit is definitely gonna be on another level. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way I look at it because I'm gonna put the work in. I've worked with a lot of producers, and I've always had, and it's the thing that would always bother me is a lot of them don't want to be in the spotlight, right? I've noticed that. Which is fine, right? But when we do this project, we can't call this a joint project if I'm the one running around here doing everything. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Right. Like that's why I fuck with K Slugger. Cause from the moment I put this thing out, he was right there with me. We in them radio interviews together. Even he's all the way over there. But when I got there, he had a whole itinerary set up for me and everything. And we promoted the project together. You know what I'm saying? So word.
Who's some of the people that you collaborated with on these 12 projects?
Okay, so I mean when it comes to the producers, it's Free Huey, Swab from Denmark. Let's see, Kevlar 96 out of Japan. Kaya Watachi, which is somebody I'm about to put out something with him now. You know what I'm saying? As far as artists, definitely shout out to Rim. You know what I'm saying? From the Villains. Um, Shout out to Illa G. Illa G is on this Jigonometry project. Like I said before, Gifted Gab, Craig G, Napoleon the Legend, Diabolic. Um, Man, this definitely PMD. Yeah, Dinko D from Leaders of the New School. We got records together. Um, man. uh, there's so many, bro.
Upstate is loaded. Did you work with anybody up there?
Um,
Anybody up there? So
well, I don't know why I didn't say this before, but I got a record with Benny called Nonfiction.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I did something with Benny. I haven't actually worked with him directly, but I'm on records with 38 Special. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, upstate New York. I just did something with Street Soprano last night. Shout out to my guy, man. Rolled out the red carpet for me when I came to the Buff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
I'm glad you was able to meet YNX. That's somebody who's been on a couple of my projects. You play with my PILLMATIC series?
Yeah. I've been looking at him like, yo, I want to be on that. Yeah.
Icebreaker right here.
Yes, sir.
You definitely fit in that pocket, man. We trying to establish. We trying to corner this shit. You know what I'm saying? And when I seen that you was on a bill with YNX, I'm like, know each other.
Now we're gonna definitely do some work, yo. He seemed like a real positive dude, like, and I love the music, man. Like I had heard about him before. You know, the underground is small, bro. So like we on the same radio playlist all the time, and you know what I'm saying. And we get mentioned together a lot, so it's like it was only a matter of time. I just had to come to the city.
The workaholic, you record himself. You send that nigga a record, he gonna send that shit back in 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's fire. That's fire. He did a lot of work with shout out to my homegirl Indigo too. Real, she's a move maker and down in Atlanta. She's from Brooklyn, but she's down in Atlanta. That's my sister, man. She also a writer too, and she I seen her do a lot of work with him too, because she's also an MC. So me and her supposed to be linking up too, because she's gonna be curating the project for me, because she's like great at picking beats. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Shout out to Indigo. And how could I forget Shabam Sadiq?
Bam, yeah.
Shout out to Shabam Sadiq. Last year we put out Don't Feed the Bears. Yeah. Crazy project. Hus Kingpin on that project.
A record for PILLMATIC too, and he was kind of like dragging his feet. I don't know if he understood the magnitude.
Bam is a perfectionist.
I detected that.
Bam is a perfectionist.
I told him, I said, we trying to recreate this PILLMATIC series is a vision that I have where I'm trying to recreate Raucous Records. He was one of the MCs that happened to be on the original Raucous Records.
You know the nigga got a song with Eminem, right?
Yeah. So it was very essential that I got him on, but it was kind of time sensitive, so I didn't get him on the project. But
he's a brother that works at his own pace. He's a brother that works at his own pace, but once you hear it, it's like, okay, now I get why it took. Because he just, you know what I mean. Every single thing, like I've been being in the studio with him, he'll go over one line like a bunch of times just to make sure it sounds exactly the way he wants it to sound. You know.
Appreciate you for taking the time out of your schedule to come over here and do this interview on Gully TV.
I appreciate you, man.
What we doing right now on the Dribble Podcast.
Okay.
In the studio in about an hour. For now, I need you to sign out. Tell my viewers where they can find you online. If they want to get out and everything.
Yo, man, make sure you follow me on Instagram, John_Jiggs. That's JOHN_JIGGS. You can also follow me on X or Twitter at Jiggs the Great. You know what I'm saying? All the streaming platforms is John Jiggs with the $. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we got 12 albums, 3 EPs. Just fall down the rabbit hole, man, and get familiar if you're not already. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's a Bible in there for everybody, something for everybody. You know. Yo, this is John Jiggs, J-I, 2 G's, and I'm here with my boy Gully TV. Getting my dribble right, you heard?
What up, man? Yo, what up? It's Killer Priest, man. Almighty Wu-Tang, right? Gully TV, what's good?
Yo, this week the Lost Cause live and direct from LA out on the west side. Shout out to Gully TV, man. Project Blue, the whole crew, man. Love, yo.
For all your advertising, networking, and promo, make sure you reach out. GullyTVBoss@gmail.com. GullyTVBoss@gmail.com for all your marketing and promo. Peace.